The year was 1982, and a young lady, a young girl, finished her biochemistry thesis, and she came home. She came home to the sound of dholkis and traditional wedding music in Punjabi. It was a Sangeet ceremony going on. That young girl was my mother, and after having won 6 gold medals studying biochemistry in Punjab University, Chandigarh, she was now about to get married. Now let's fast forward 20 years from then. My mom then decided that let me take one more chance at doing what I really passionately believe now that my kids are grown up. My sister and I had both grown up. So she decided to study Ayurveda, something she had been drawn to all her life. And she combined traditional Ayurvedic wisdom with the science that she had studied and started making some lotions, potions, and uttans at the time. But it was only years later when I actually gave these unlabeled bottles and these jars to my girlfriend at the time and now my wife, who told me that, oh, see, where can we go buy this? And her flatmates would say my skin has become so much better. Only then did I realize what a treasure trove mom was creating back home. Well, life continued. Megha and I were both working in our corporate careers in Singapore. And finally, we decided that the beauty products that mom was making back at home, where there was absolutely zero proper production, no distribution, we said we'll pack our bags and we'll go back to Chandigarh, and that's how we started Just Herbs. And that is how I became an entrepreneur, and that's how Megha and I started this venture. So my talk today is basically about 10 things I learned through my entrepreneurial journey, so that at least a few of you sitting here will actually act upon what you really believe in. And I would be happy if you're able to turn that into a profitable enterprise someday, employ more people, because I think that's what our country needs. I've been saying this, that the more entrepreneurs we create in this country, I think the better it is for the upliftment of the entire nation as a whole. Right? So I'll just get right into it. The first thing I learned was that the right time to start something was yesterday, and the next best time is now. Good decisions, they don't need overthinking, they need execution, right? So stop making plan B, plan C, plan D. Stop saying मैं GRE करूँगा, SAT करूँगा, I'll write the railway exams. No. You just need one or two people to believe in you, and then you take a deep breath and then you dive right in. Okay? You cannot be a little pregnant. You either are or you're not. Okay? I know nobody who sailed on 2 boats and reached the shore. So like I say, take a deep breath and dive right in. The second thing, sorry, the slides are a little. Timing is everything. Don't be too early, don't be too late. What do I mean by that? When we came back to India in 2014, right, e-commerce in India was just taking off. So people would tell us, who's going to buy a face cream online? You have to touch it, feel it, you have to experience it. Only then will you buy it, right? But we didn't have the money to set up offline distribution. Right? We had no options. So was it too early to sell face cream online? How do we tell? We just had to try it. So what we did was we hired a developer somewhere in Nepal, because all I had was 4 lakhs of rupees from SBI, and we got a website made. And then what we would do is we make our products ourselves in Chandigarh, so we get all the produce there, and everything is blended together. We would make small videos of it and post it on Facebook. And guess what happened? People started buying the products. So it was the right time after all. Guys, there is nothing like right place, right time. Even a broken clock is right twice a day. Okay? So if you want to do something, just keep at it and you will get the timing right. The third thing, which is extremely, extremely important, and the lesson I've learned as an entrepreneur in the last 8 years, is that your progress is not going to be linear. Okay, so our business had taken off, people were buying our products, we would be very excited to receive those orders on our website, and sometimes when people would order from around Chandigarh, Megha and I would ourselves go and deliver those products, right? And we were very, very excited that it's finally working. And Diwali was around the corner. We had made tons of inventory. We were really kicked. We thought, we're going to crush the numbers this time. There's going to be a lot of sales. And guess what happened? The website crashed. because we were dependent on an outsourced IT team, and it was Diwali time, sitting on tons of inventory with zero numbers. Your plans almost never materialized. Much later in our journey, we decided we'll open a store in Mumbai. We took very expensive real estate in Juhu, right? It was January, and in March, the national lockdown was announced. Your plans almost never materialized. We were launching lipsticks, and now we were wondering who's going to wear a lipstick under that mask. So your plans, the way you think about things, sometimes don't work out. But that does not mean that you don't have a business plan. Right? As long as you're moving in the right direction, if your arrow is pointing upwards, you're okay. Progress, my friends, is not linear. Number 4, and I cannot stress this enough, grow a thick skin. You will need it if you want to be an entrepreneur. So, a time comes when you start, you figure out you've attained product market fit, people like your product, and now you need more capital to scale your venture. You need more money to make new products, to build a team. You need to raise capital from investors. And I would think this is almost like being in a kickboxing match. Right? So we would have pitched to almost about 50 plus investors, and all of them said some version of the same thing. We are forming our internal thesis about this sector. You guys should show some more traction and come back to us. Basically, they were telling us to buzz off, right? But the worst was when 2 very big VC firms in the country actually decided to invest in us after engaging with us for almost 9 odd months, gave us the term sheets, the agreements. We had signed one of them. In fact, one of them said, look, we have a tradition that when we invest in a new company, we go out with them for dinner, right? But since this is COVID time, we'll do it virtually. So Megha, being Megha, was even deciding what dress she's going to wear for that Zoom meeting, and they decide to back out. Right? It's like saying शादी पक्की है, कार्ड वार्ड छप गए हैं, बारात बाहर खड़ी है, और अभी they decide to back out. And I'm like, boss, in 9 months we could have made a baby, and you couldn't make up your mind. That's how bad we felt. For 7 days, I did not get out of the bed. Neither did Megha. She was very down too. But finally, one day I just looked at the dashboard. I wasn't going to work. My team was handling everything, and I noticed that this has been the best month in the last 6 months in the history of the business. The numbers were going up and up, and that changed something in me. And we got back to work with a renewed zeal. We called up our existing investors, and we decided we're going to take a break now. We won't go in for this fundraising drama because we don't need capital. We're growing very, very well. And then we timed ourselves better and went again to market. And this time, guess what happened? We got at least 5 term sheets, and we chose the best partners for ourselves, sold a controlling stake to Marico, and everybody got a very good outcome. Point number 5, very underrated. I think we talk about hustle, startups, founders, unicorn. What nobody talks about is the mental toll it takes on the entrepreneur. It's very lonely out there. It's very draining mentally. So keeping fit physically and mentally is extremely important if you want to stay for the long run. Point number 6, treat failure like a scientist. I say this because I look at my mother when she makes her products. Right? So for example, we made a lipstick with ghee and with sesame oil. That was a challenge, right? We were the first ones in the country to do that. And it took her about 2.5 years to perfect that formula. And I would see her that every time that stick would break because we couldn't get that hardness into that stick. And she would be noting things down in her diary. We treat failure as if, we're not good enough. But actually, you know what? There are 2 types of results that you get when you're doing something. A positive result and a negative result. And actually, both of them help you find the right answer. So you treat failure as a learning. And let's just keep at it. So that's point number 6, which is treat failure like a scientist. Over here, I want to tell you I'm doing this as a 10-point format so that you guys know that how much more of the talk is still to go. So we're halfway through. So those of you who are a little bored, there's just 4 more points to go. Entrepreneurship is a team sport. We have people from the HR fraternity sitting here. I don't think I can stress this enough. This is not a tennis match. It's more like a football or a cricket game, right? So please hire an A-level team. B, C-level people will not do. Because if you hire a B-level person, they will hire C-level people. And C-level people will hire D-level people. And before you know it, your organization is full of Z-level people, and you don't want that. So hire A-level players, right? What do I mean by that? When you're hiring people, and this is my personal experience, there is a candidate who is very suave, knows everything, looks like he's going to go out there and win the world for you. But there is something about him or her that she's not too trustworthy. You can't trust this guy. And what do I mean by trust? Trust is what you have in the army. Every great army on the planet is built on only one thing, which is trust. These are groups of men and women who are willing to give their lives for a common cause. If there is no trust, there is no team. If I pass you the ball and you're not able to kick that into the goal, you're not an A-level team player that I want in my team. So choose trust over skills. Finally, you do not need yes men and yes women around you when you're an entrepreneur. When I sit in my team, I want to be the dumbest person in the room. My HR person, my designer, the person who goes out and brings business, they all have to be smarter than me, right? You do not need people who are just nodding their heads in agreement all the time. You need people who are smarter than you. So go out and hire with that mindset. And finally, those of you who sat through my talk and were kind enough to pay attention, and those of you who don't want to be entrepreneurs, don't worry. You can still be entrepreneurial in whatever you're doing. Whether you're working in a legal firm, whether you're working in a manufacturing setup, wherever you're working, there will be a time when you will be accountable for numbers, where you will be accountable for holding a team together, where you will be accountable for bringing about results, right? So you can still be entrepreneurial in your career. And if you're able to do that, A, you will always have a job. B, you will always progress, not linearly always, but if you keep at it, you will progress. And I think those are my 10 points, my 10 learnings from my entrepreneurship journey. Finally, I'd like to tell all of you that, entrepreneurs don't wait for things to happen. They make things happen. Thank you.